Well, with me from the Engineering Council of South Africa, Advocate Rebaone Gaoraelwe. He's with the statutory functions at the organisation. Rebaone, thanks very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you.
Generally, I would imagine that South Africa has a pretty good record when it comes to safety at construction sites or at construction of structures, or is that too naive to think?
Well, I can't speak for the entire construction industry because there are many role players there.
Yeah.
But I can confirm for you that where professional engineers are involved, chances of such calamities are very slim.
Yeah, and of course we have professionalism at this particular bridge, or any bridge, for example, that may be constructed on such an economic capital.
Well, in relation to professional engineers,
yep,
it's a bit premature for us to say whether the engineers that were involved there were professional, and by professional I mean registered with the Engineering Council of South Africa. You'd see a lot of engineers that are registered with us with the PREng title at the back of it. So we have dispatched 2 inspectors yesterday already, professional engineering experts in civil engineering in structures, and we will be studying the preliminary reports that will come out of that to determine firstly whether the people that are involved were registered with us, and if they were, then we can start with the formal investigations. By law, we cannot investigate any engineer that's not registered with us, but it does not mean any engineer that's not registered with us is off the hook, because as you heard the CEO of Marian Roberts say himself, the Department of Labour is on site. In terms of the occupational health and safety legislation, they can investigate anything or anybody that was part of that story.
What do investigative engineers actually look for typically when they go to a site like this?
Typically they go and check whether indeed there is the collapse is as a result of engineering workmanship, yeah, or lack thereof. They check where the problems are, what could have caused that, whether it's an engineer, because as I said, there are many role players, yeah, and there are temporary and permanent structures there, and they check whether that which caused the collapse may have been out of engineering fault.
All right, now I don't want to preempt any investigations, but on the ground this morning and all over Twitter, there were pictures and comments about perhaps a truck that was seen, a cement truck that was seen in the area, believed to have actually gone into the scaffolding that's supporting this brick structure. Is that an easy thing to investigate or not?
Indeed, indeed, but you know, we cannot speculate at this stage, yeah, as to what may have caused that and whether there's a relationship between that and the workmanship. As I said, where we get involved is we investigate specifically whether the act or omission of the role of a professional engineer was involved. If there are natural or unnatural forces involved, it's a different matter.
All right, now there's parallel investigations happening at the moment. It's not just one. Does that affect the outcome or even the accountability aspect? Not
at all. Like I said, the Department of Labour and its investigators come there to check health and safety issues. We come there to check, firstly, whether there was an engineer involved and if that engineer is registered. And if indeed that engineer is registered, we investigate as to whether that which caused the collapse may have may have been caused by an act or omission on the part of that engineer from a workmanship point of view. And the fact that there are multiple investigations does not mean that it will impede what we need to do. We are focused in what we do there and we know what to check there.
All right. From a layman's perspective, you see the scaffolding exposed, let's say, to activity around the bridge. Now, let's assume that the scaffolding was knocked down in any way. Are there any rules governing how much of the scaffolding should be exposed to the open road or the open environment?
Look, the starting point is that there are certain forms by law that get signed by the professional engineer on site. Yeah. There's an A19 form, for instance, that must be signed with the municipality, which prescribes that which the engineer is signing for. There are temporary structures. Scaffolding is temporary, as opposed to permanent structures. In the majority of the case, almost invariably, an engineer is responsible for the permanent structure there. But of course, depending on how significant the scaffolding is, I cannot speculate at this stage, but temporary structures generally would be the responsibility of the contractor as such, and not as the engineer as such. But like I said, it's speculative. The investigation will get to the bottom of it to say whether the scaffolding was the reason, yep, for the collapse or not. And at this stage, it's still premature for us to come to that conclusion.
Indeed. Thanks very much indeed. Hope to speak to you when this is over as well. Advocate Rebaone Gaoraelwe, thanks indeed for coming in.
Thank you.